Top 5 most likely alien races you will have an encounter with. The Greys. Grey aliens, also referred to as Zeta Reptilians, are purported extraterrestrial beings. According to journalist C.D.B. Bryan, 73% of all reported alien encounters in the United States describe grey aliens, a significantly higher proportion than other countries. Such claims vary widely, but typically greys are described as being human-like with small body with smooth gray-colored skin, and large hairless heads and large black eyes. The Barney and Betty Hill abduction claim, which purportedly took place in New Hampshire in 1961, popularized grey aliens. There are precursor figures described in science fiction, and similar descriptions appeared in early accounts of the 1947 Roswell UFO incident. The grey alien has emerged as an archetypal image of an intelligent non-human creature and extraterrestrial life in general, as well as an iconic trope of popular culture in the age of space exploration. Greys are typically depicted as gray-skinned, diminutive humanoid beings that possess reduced forms of or completely lack external human body parts such as noses, ears, or sex organs. Their bodies are usually depicted as being elongated, having a small chest, and lacking in muscular definition and visible skeletal structure. Their legs are depicted as being shorter and jointed differently from humans, with limbs proportionally different from a human. Greys are depicted as having unusually large heads in proportion to their bodies, with no hair on the body and no noticeable outer ears or noses, sometimes with small openings or orifices for ears, nostrils, and mouths. In drawings, greys are almost always shown with very large, opaque black eyes. They are frequently described as shorter than average adult humans. Greys are often involved in alien abduction claims. Among reports of aliens encounters, greys make up approximately 50% in Australia, 73% in the United States, 48% in continental Europe, and around 12% in the United Kingdom. These reports include two distinct groups of greys that differ in height. Abduction claims are often described as extremely traumatic, similar to an abduction by humans or even a sexual assault in the level of trauma and distress. The eyes are often a focus of abduction claims. Claims often describe a grey staring into the eyes of an abductee when conducting mental procedures. This staring is claimed to induce hallucinogenic states or directly provoke different emotions. Some conspiracy theorists believe that greys represent part of the government-led disinformation or plausible deniability campaign, or that they are a product of government mind control experiments. Nordic Aliens. Nordic aliens are humanoid extraterrestrials purported to come from the Pleiades, who resemble Nordic Scandinavians. Professed contactees describe them as being 6 to 7 feet tall, with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and fair skin. Ufologist George Adamski is credited with being among the first to claim contact with Nordic aliens in the mid-1950s, and scholars note that the mythology of extraterrestrial visitation from beings with features described as Aryan often include claims of telepathy, benevolence, and physical beauty. Cultural historian David J. Skall wrote that early stories of Nordic-type aliens may have been partially inspired by the 1951 film The Day the Earth Stood Still, in which an extraterrestrial arrives on Earth to warn humanity about the dangers of atomic weapons. Bates College professor Stephanie Kelly Romano described alien abduction beliefs as a living myth, and notes that among believers Nordic aliens are often associated with spiritual growth and love and act as protectors for the experiences. In contactee and ufology literature, Nordic aliens are often described as benevolent or even magical beings who want to observe and communicate with humans and are concerned about the Earth's environment or prospects for world peace. Believers also ascribe telepathic powers to Nordic aliens and describe them as paternal, watchful, smiling, affectionate, and youthful. Kelly Romano observes that white extraterrestrials are those that are most revered among claimants compared to other beings like the Greys, and argues that claimants may use their stories about extraterrestrials as a means of articulating racially based fears. During the 1950s, many contactees, especially those in Europe, claimed encounters with beings fitting this description. Such claims became relatively less common in subsequent decades as the Grey alien supplanted the Nordic in most alleged accounts of extraterrestrial encounters. The Draconians. The Draconians are reptilian humanoids, or anthropomorphic reptiles. One of the first historical depictions of a reptilian humanoid was the ancient Egyptian deity Sobek, who had the head of a crocodile. He was depicted with similar traits such as being aggressive and animalistic. In South Asian and Southeast Asian mythology, the Naga are semi-divine creatures which are half human and half serpent. Sightings of humanoid reptile cryptids are common in the southern United States, where swamps are common. In the late 1980s, there were hundreds of supposed sightings of lizardmen in Bishopville, South Carolina. The idea of reptilians was popularized by David Icke, a conspiracy theorist who claimed shape-shifting reptilian aliens control Earth by taking on human form and gaining political power to manipulate human societies. Icke has stated on multiple occasions that many world leaders are or are possessed by so-called reptilians. Alien abduction narratives sometimes allege contact with reptilian creatures. One of the earliest reports was that of Ashland, Nebraska police officer Herbert Shermer, born 1945. Who under hypnosis recalled being taken aboard a UFO in 1967 by humanoid beings with a slightly reptilian appearance, who wore a winged serpent emblem on the left side of their chests. Skeptics consider his claims to be a hoax. The Arkhearts. This race comes from constellation Sextans. They crashed one of their ships near the town of Varginha in Brazil in 1996. Two of the occupants are under USA custody. They paid a huge amount of money for them. According to the ARB, they have the fastest ships among all alien races. Last seen on Earth February 2002 near Virginia, Brazil again. Mantis Aliens. Mantis aliens are perhaps the most mysterious and unsettling of all extraterrestrial creatures. These beings appear within many abduction scenarios, with abductees reporting the ominous presence of these entities looming over their beds as they wake up in the dead of the night. While the mantis is not as widely reported as the Grey or Nordic Alien, it still holds an important role with many extraterrestrial contact scenarios. Some researchers have considered mantids as a possible example of an early form of intelligent life from planet Earth itself, but this is the only theory of the origin of these creatures. Some believe these extraterrestrials come from the Draco system, working hand in hand with the reptilians. By far the most striking aspect of the mantis alien is its physical kinship with the praying mantis, the carnivorous and bipedal insect of its namesake. Many report these beings as 6 to 7 feet tall, with long, thin torsos. Their necks, arms, and hands have additional joints. Their heads are insect-like and triangular, with large slanted eyes of deep brown to black. Most mantids are described as dark brown, but other colors such as green and black have also been encountered. Their bodies are composed of a segmented exoskeleton, and some abductees have reported that the mantis seem to be coated in an oily substance. Mantis are often encountered wearing long robes in a variety of colors, perhaps signifying rank, while some are unclothed.